All right, hey guys, welcome to the second episode of this attempt at a podcast on YouTube. Today I'm joined by Daniel, who I
Hello.
know from the EFC. Can you tell people a little bit more about yourself? What do you do?
Yeah. Right now I'm a student at the Copenhagen University, and besides that, I also write some stuff. I'm a script writer, so I write
Yeah.
short movies. And that's about it. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, a very helpful script writer, I will say. It's
Oh,
helped
thank you.
quite a bit with some stories for some films. And then also joined by Christian, who you might know from Quilster, Danish
Yeah,
YouTube channel.
and from other videos, I'm joining you by.
Yeah, and we need to get that Star Wars thing done next week, I guess.
Yeah.
We're introducing. I guess Daniel hasn't heard. Christian has never seen like Star Wars proper, so we're going through them, seeing them, talking about him.
Okay.
And he is
He has never seen any one of them.
no. Now he's seen 4 and 5. Well, yeah, I'll let you
Yeah.
explain it.
I'm being raised by Nick right now.
Oh. Is
So-
it good for you?
We need
Yeah.
to go see, or like we need to watch Return of the Jedi next. And apparently I spoiled like a big thing for Christian.
Yeah, you did. Last time you just spoiled. I said that I couldn't understand why Leia was in love with both Han and Luke Skywalker, and then he said, "But you know they're sisters, right?" And I was like, "No." That was great.
Yeah.
So yeah, sorry about that. But you've seen the new Star Wars trailer now, right, Christian?
Yeah, I did.
So from that,
We
you
saw
would
it in the
also.
cinema.
That's true. You would also know from that he's like, oh, my sister has it. But I guess you probably wouldn't know that.
I didn't get that. I was just looking at him and just realizing how old he was.
Yeah,
He looks
that's
very
true.
old right now.
But let's get into that. The main reason why us three are here is that we went together to see the Avengers in IMAX. That the IMAX cinema just opened in Copenhagen for the first time, which is really cool. So let's start out. What did you think of the IMAX experience? And have you seen IMAX before? Daniel, maybe
Yeah,
first.
I can start. I have been to IMAX in USA. I've been to, I don't know, several. I saw Man of Steel and Star Trek, and I'm not that great at the technical terms, but as we talked about, I think there is several kind of IMAXs,
Yeah.
versions of IMAX.
There's like an
and-
official proper IMAX, and then there's like some
Yeah.
copycat stuff. That is
Yeah.
also big screens, but not the same.
And my experience with this in Copenhagen was that it was the not real IMAX. I know it is real IMAX, but it wasn't as big an experience as I have experienced it before with a bigger screen. It was large, but as we talked about, it wasn't that large.
No,
The
it didn't
screen-
feel like full IMAX.
No. But it was a great experience. I think
Yeah.
the 3D and all that worked pretty good. Yeah, but it was not. I don't think I would pay that in the future for to watch a movie. We paid 175 kroners, which
yeah.
is
I should
almost
maybe specify, like in Denmark, it's like
Yeah.
80, 90 to 100, something like that, Danish crowns, which is like what, 15 to 20 bucks to go to the cinema
Yeah.
normally. You'd add a little bit for 3D and stuff, but this was pretty much double the price
Yeah.
from that to see the IMAX 3D. It would be less because this was IMAX and 3D. It was more, but so if it's IMAX without 3D, it would be a little bit less. But it was pretty expensive. It was pretty much 2 cinema tickets you had to pay.
exactly. But it was besides that, I think it was great experience.
Yeah, Christian.
Yeah, I was a little bit disappointed because we heard so much about the IMAX experience, and I have never tried it on my own body. I've seen a couple of things on YouTube how it works and how it would be better, and because of that, I was pretty excited to go and watch the Avengers in IMAX. And I was a little bit disappointed because to me it was, like you said, Nick, it's the same size of screen almost, and I thought that it would be very much bigger.
Yeah.
So, but I think the 3D was great, and I actually think that in this IMAX cinema we watched it in, I think that the 3D was very sharp. And in some movies it is a little bit blurry, but this was actually very sharp.
Yeah. I wonder now, like this. I feel like that wasn't even the biggest screen in that cinema. I feel like normally their biggest screen is actually bigger, but I don't know. But yeah, I agree. It was like I've seen 1 or 2 films in the US in IMAX. I remember seeing Super 8 and being blown away by that and that being huge. And I was like, this is almost too big. This is like when someone buys a new TV and you're sitting too close, and I was like, how is this gonna work? But that is like they basically, if you like think of a normal like CinemaScope or just like widescreen picture that they just add a bit on top and the bottom that you don't really need. It's kind of how like you don't really need the stuff on the sides on a widescreen or CinemaScope, but it just adds to the experience, and it's the same thing just on top and on the bottom, which is really cool. So like it's not like you need to like see everything like super sharp, but it just makes you feel more there. Everything is like sort of overwhelming you, which is really cool. And I didn't really have that there. It was more. I was really impressed with the 3D. It was really sharp. It was really, the sound was really good as well. But I'm considering going to see it in another cinema to check what my normal favorite cinema, how that is there, where, like Imperial in Copenhagen, where it's also Dolby Atmos, which I'm looking forward to hearing that, comparing the experience.
Yeah, and I could also say I don't think it was the screen, the part of experience that was the most important for me. I think the sound. That was really, really good. I was pleasantly surprised by that. I think that was more an experience than the screen, actually.
Yeah,
I agree on that. Yeah, but that's where like,
they made that whole trailer in the beginning where they really pulled it off.
It was a whole short film.
Yeah, exactly, and that was a little art, but on the other hand, you could actually see what the screen and the sound could actually do.
Yeah. In my experience, like that's where I'm really looking forward to seeing it again in PL, because for me the best sound so far I've experienced is Dolby Atmos, which they have in PL. So I would really like to hear if that adds something, because I think even though this was really impressive, it's still 7.1 I think they have in that cinema, where Atmos is like, maybe I should Google that, but it's like 33 different channels or something like that. So I would love to see if the sound is as good, because then it might be worth it, but it's still maybe too expensive. I don't know. And then they were showing like short films and stuff, and maybe that's part of the problem. They were like, before all the press material, they were trying to hype it up, and then coming in there and like I feel like 10-15 minutes of trailers for IMAX. I'm like, I already bought the ticket. IMAX on the like sides and everywhere. It was crazy. But I guess they need to earn back the investment. But then let's get to the next thing. The biggest thing for me going to this was the Star Wars trailer, seeing that for the third time in the cinema. What do you think of it, and had you seen the trailer before?
I had seen it before, a lot of times actually. I'm not that big a Star Wars fan as you.
Not a good man.
but I think it was pretty good. I had a lot of beliefs in J.J. Abrams. I think he did a good job with the new Star Trek, the first Star Trek. Not as much the second one, but
they're
I think
basically more Star Wars films than Star Trek films, actually. Those two he made.
Yeah, they're very. I like them. They're pretty good, and he's a good storyteller. I think so. So I had a lot of confidence in him, and just what you hear about the sets and all that. The robot he's created, the little small one that goes around.
Yeah.
That he's going to do a lot of practical effects, and I think that's a good thing coming from the last trilogy. that was pretty bad in my opinion, but yeah.
I
had some expectations. Yeah, that was.
Well, how was it for you? Was it different to see it on a big screen and the better sound of IMAX?
No, not really. No.
Okay. Yeah, Christian?
No.
Yeah, I think that it was pretty good, but I think that the teaser kind of blew my mind more than the actual trailer. I don't know if it was because of that it was the first trailer or the first thing that we have seen to the new Star Wars universe, but I think that they showed like the new sort of lightsaber and the new R2 stuff, but it was also pretty good that you actually saw the characters. You didn't. I think that they kind of hid them away in the teaser, so we didn't know the faces of anyone. And
we saw John
those,
Boyega, the black
yeah,
stormtrooper guy, but I don't think we saw Daisy Ridley's character as much. We saw like maybe one close up, but we definitely saw them more in this one for sure.
yeah, but it was the things where they fly in the X-wings and stuff like that. That was pretty cool. So we actually they are kind of showing us what we can expect, and there's going to be a lot of big battles also. So I'm looking very much forward to that.
Yeah, and I mean, I talked a lot with my friend Peter last week when we tested this Google Hangout thing out. About that was a lot of Star Wars talk, so I'm not going to say too much. But yeah, I think it was really cool. Of course, I would say of course it wasn't as a crazy experience seeing it the third time in the cinema, but it was still really nice. And I think at least if you're a Star Wars fan, you should. It's a good reason to go to the cinema to see it. Like Avengers is worth seeing, and seeing the Star Wars trailer on a big screen definitely adds something for me. Yeah, I'd say that. But yeah, then let's get into the meat of it.
Sorry?
I think we lost him.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Universe sequel to Avengers, but of course ties into all the other films. So, Daniel, what did you think of it?
You were just gone for a second. So what did you ask? What I thought about Avengers?
What do you think? I was trying to explain. Like it's in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and continues the story. But what do you think of it, of the film, and how do you think it ties into the universe, and maybe what do you think of the Marvel films in general?
Yeah, I mean, I like, in general, I like the Marvel films. I think they're good at creating action and creating they have some good characters, and they have not made that many bad movies. But one of the things I think about the whole Marvel things is that even when they make good movies, it's only like popcorn movies. It's not like big Oscar-worthy stuff. You know, there is a limit to what they can do with the things they have in the stories.
It's summer blockbusters. It's not trying to like do something crazy more than that.
No. So I think the first Avengers was one of the best, and Winter Soldier was one of the best things they've done, because it just worked on all the levels that they could work on. But yeah, it was not like I was crying or like emotional in that sense, or like touched by the story or something like that. But it was just good, entertaining, well-crafted story. And I think this second Avengers: Age of Ultron, I think it was entertaining, but it wasn't nearly as good as the first one, or Winter Soldier. And that was I think the action was good, but it was kind of an unfocused story. It didn't work that well, in my opinion.
I'm beginning to feel more like that. Right when we came out, I had a little hard time like placing it exactly where it is. I think Iron Man is still my favorite, and I really like the first Avengers and Winter Soldier as well, the second Captain America film. But the more I think of it, the more I think this is below those, where right when it came out, I was like, there's parts that I like and parts that I don't like, but yeah, I don't know. At this point, maybe all those films together, we should give them the benefit of like a TV show where we would spend more times with the characters, which I think it does benefit from, because I like Captain America more. I like Black Widow more than I did in the beginning, because I've spent time with them and stuff like that. But I think it also has some problems, and I think I actually like it less than those. Although I think it's still better than like the Thor movies and the weaker ones. What about you, Christian? What do you think?
I think that this movie was actually pretty good, and I don't know how I felt with it compared to the first movie, because in some ways they're very similar, and in some other ways they're actually telling the audience why something is actually fucked up. Especially, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but
let's do no spoilers now, and then we'll do like a little bit. We can say spoilers, and then we can talk about it that way.
Yeah, but in the last couple of minutes, actually, there is one guy who's talking to another person, and he's actually saying how messed up it is that he got his abilities and how they are compared to the other. And to me, it was like from the beginning of the first Avengers, I was like, why is he on the team? Because he might be the baddest hero in the whole world. I couldn't see him in a movie for himself, and especially because I don't think that his character is that strong. And we saw something in this movie, but it wasn't as action packed. It was more like he's the cozy guy. So, but I liked it, and it was actually a bit different from the second movie in some terms. But I had a hard time placing it because I felt that something was missing, and I don't know if it just was because that it was more of the same. I don't know. I feel like it is just more of the first Avengers, maybe.
I think I know why I think it's worse than the first one, and I think it's pretty simple in the sense that the first one, the climax of the first one is that they're going to fight together. That's the whole. It builds up and they can't agree, and then
it has more of a classic film structure for sure.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, and here in the beginning they fight together. So the climax of the movie, there is no real. I mean, there's a big fight scene, yeah, of course, but it doesn't build up. It doesn't.
They had also spoiled a lot of that in trailers. I feel like a lot of the best moments in this film were shown in trailers. So if you haven't seen the trailers, try to avoid them because some of those fights at the end they show in trailers. That's so annoying.
Yeah, but that's another aspect. But I think even though if the story had worked in a better way, you would still have shown a lot as they do in the trailers. But I just feel that it doesn't build. It doesn't feel like climactic as the first one because they can't talk to each other without fighting, and then in the end they actually fight together. Here it's like it's just one big. Then there is a big action set piece in the end, but it doesn't feel as a result as something that has gone before really.
The structure and pacing is pretty weird. Actually, let's get into spoilers. So if you don't want to have it spoiled, now take a break and come back or something. I think it would be nice to talk a little bit more about specifics. Let's hear, Christian. What character were you talking about? Hawkeye before?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because I was in the first movie, he was actually on the bad side because he was.
He started he was on the bad side in the beginning.
Yeah, and that was because of the Loki's scepter, the scepter Loki's using, and that was to me it was like that's an easy way to cut out the bad character of a movie. So I was like that's okay to me that he isn't there, but in this movie he's in the movie a lot, and that.
He gets a lot more screen time.
Yeah, exactly, and that frustrated me a little because he didn't show. He hadn't any cool tricks like the others. He just had the different kind of arrows. The classic one, the one that explodes, and I think
it's all the Black Ride arrows.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think that he's the most
that was
boring
also
character.
Where the pacing became a little weird, and the structure was really weird. When they go to his hideout, sort of thing, they managed to keep it secret, and now you're gonna show it now. I guess they need a place, but it's like I don't know. And then the way it goes there it was really weird, like the structure of that.
Yeah, I think it would have worked better if they have actually used it, but it doesn't feel like they do. It's like they set up. He's an ordinary man, and I actually think that compared to what you say, I think that he is kind of interesting in the sense that he's an ordinary guy. He's more ordinary than the other ones.
Yeah.
So they could have used that in the climax of the movie or by the end that he actually had a role that was important. But
there wasn't a lot of setups and payoffs in that way that they do stuff, but they isn't really used for anything.
No, and I thought that was pity, so it could have worked. I actually like that it settled down and we saw more of where he came from, but it wasn't used.
So, no, I actually thought when we saw they were going to the safe house, I actually thought that his wife and his children was going to be part of the movie, and actually maybe Ultron would have taken them, and and because of that, he would say, "I'm out. I can't do this anymore." In the end of the movie, but
or had
yeah.
killed the family or like done something.
Yeah.
That's what I thought, and I actually
Just
thought
kill
going
the
into
children.
But like I thought this was going to be, they're beginning to do a lot of trilogies within the universe. We haven't had 3 Iron Man films. They're going to do a third Captain America film. I think they're going to do a third Thor film. We're going to have a third Avengers, which I think has the title Civil War. And going into that a little bit, I thought the way the film started building was that this was going to be the dark second chapter. Going back to Star Wars, I think this was going to be the Empire Strikes Back that ends with them fighting, and then the third film was going to be them start like having that sort of fight against each other, and then end up like more positive with an end.
Yeah.
And with how we see this end with the sort of stinger at the end with Thanos, that is going to be the final battle, and that it looks like that. But I thought they ended up going somewhere in between now, which is so bizarre because, as we talked about, they don't do the normal film structure like. It's a little all over the place, and then they don't go the other way where they could have gone like more dark. It seemed like they played it sort of safe in the middle, and then it ends up being neither of it. Because having that, the moments where they are like fighting each other and that begins, I was like, okay, this could be really interesting. This could be a little bit different than what we see in most like blockbuster films. And then it ends up they're sort of friends again, but it's I don't know what feeling. Like it's such a weird feeling because you feel like there's something a little bit off. And then with that Vision guy as well, it's so bizarre.
I actually thought that he worked well because he was like the only one who didn't have any irony or sarcasm about
or any agenda, it seemed as well.
Yeah, so I like that he was very straight. I actually thought the dynamics of the character worked because of him more in the end.
It just was weird for me that he came in so late and you didn't really get a feel for him, and then you supposedly have all these powers that he didn't really use. So I get that if he's trying to be sort of neutral in a way, that then he wouldn't be part of the fight. But there's just some of that I would have explained more or something.
Yeah, but they actually made a cliffhanger in the end of when we see him for the last time. He is with Ultra, and he's using something. It looked like they teleported or something.
Didn't he just kill Ultron?
Yeah, he did, but then they were in another place, and it was kind of a forest thing. And then they were
I thought
just like,
that was where he killed him.
No, they killed him with I think it was Iron Man, the Vision guy, and who was the last?
I don't know, but as I understood it, then like that was his main form. You know, that was his super hard metal thing. But then the way Ultron works, it's kind of like Sauron in Lord of the Rings, where he could jump, his soul could jump around physical forms. So that thing that Vision was talking to at the end was he jumped into that, and that was sort of the last physical form of all those robots he could have. And then Vision killed the robot and killed him that way. That's how I understood it at least.
Yeah, but I just thought that they didn't have a closure on that one. So I thought that maybe they were going to pick him up in the third movie or something.
They can still do, but I still understood the ending as they killed him, like definitely.
Yeah.
But it's Marvel, so they can find
they can do whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that we're gonna see more to the Vision guy, but yeah.
Yeah, Vision for sure. I think it would also be for the better if they just let Ultron go now. He's dead or whatever.
Yeah,
and then the next one is going to be one main villain, and that's going to be Thanos. One of the problems with superhero films, for me, often is when there's too many villains. There's often too many characters as it is with like henchmen and stuff. And and here in Avengers, where it's like 10 superheroes. What do you think of the end, where all of a sudden like a lot of them are like retiring or whatever, and then we have like the new crew. We have the sidekick from Iron Man, from the Captain America, and who else? There was like new people there.
Yeah. It wasn't necessary, but I like when the way they do their movies, that it's good to see where they would be headed off in the next one. So in that sense, it was good, but it was not necessary for this story to have that. And it's funny because I didn't understood it as if Iron Man was retiring. He said something like he went someplace.
Yeah, the thing I think they're going to do with this, that like the reason they do this is that after Avengers 2 until Avengers 3, we're going to have a Captain American film. We're going to have like several of these like side films,
Yeah.
And that is sort of the reasoning for it, while they are not fighting together as the Avengers against these bosses. Because Iron Man is not there, he's like doing something else. That's why he doesn't show up in the next Captain America film, and he's doing that fight alone. And then I'm assuming that in the next Avengers film, that these Avengers we saw now, like the people who were back, and the new like sidekick sort of characters that I guess gonna like hold the base, they're gonna start out with that, and then Thanos is gonna show up, and then they can't handle it, and then we need to pull the whole team. The team needs to come back together.
Back together.
Yeah, that's gonna be the way they're gonna do that. I'm assuming. But it did feel another thing that added to the weird feeling of this film, where you're like, what is going on?
One thing I thought they could have done better also was, I think it was a interesting villain, I think, but it was, I like the first one that they fighted against each other, and there was one line of dialogue where Tony Stark says to Bruce Banner that they don't have time for voting or something like that, where about what to do, and I thought that was an interesting thought. That's an interesting in the sense of their dynamics. That they are a team, but sometimes they can't find
what if they don't
ground.
agree? It was a great reason for them to have a fight and like split up and fight internally, which they did a little bit. But I just wish they would have gone further with that, because that was a really great reason. I totally understand Iron Man. I am having a bad connection.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. You're back. All right, we'll see how that will be in the final video. Whenever I talked a little bit, I don't know if you did. Feel like we've been a little bit negative, so maybe we should talk about some of the things that we liked. One of the things that I liked a lot was the whole hammer thing. What do you think of that? Where they're trying to lift the hammer. That was one of the few things that had a payoff at the end.
Yeah, that was nice. That was nice.
Yeah, they made the hammer joke as one of the jokes that they were going back to in the whole movie. They also had the thing in the beginning where Captain America says "talk nicely" or something like that, and that didn't work.
Yeah, that didn't.
That was just odd. But the hammer thing worked very great, especially where I think it was Captain America who nearly.
Where you see Thor is like, oh shit, it's moving.
Exactly, and then where he came
and then he plays it off, it's like, we're good.
Yeah, exactly, and then it was just like when the Vision guy just picked it up as he was there in the beginning, because he was actually, it was kind of, I know what you told the other guys, that nobody could pick it up. And I thought that
it was also saying
it
like
actually worked pretty great.
The god of Asgard and all that. If you carry the hammer, you can get all my shit and you can carry it. And then this dude just picks it up.
Yeah, exactly. And then also because in the beginning or the end of the movie, they also picked this hammer thing up again, where they talked about if you could pick it up, if it was in the elevator.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Was also,
they were like, does that count?
Yeah, it was great that they also put some of the odd physics in the movie, because we as fans see and might speculate a bit more about how can you actually pick it up as a normal guy, and they actually put some of those thoughts in our head.
I loved how they also played, like, I think that was a fun scene when they tried to pick up the hammer, but they played it really well in the way that they also used it to tell us more about the characters, the way they reacted to things, the line they said before they tried to pick up the hammer, the way that it was clearly like the guys trying to show off. Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson's character was like, no, I don't need to do this, I'm good, where it was all the like egos of the guys that needed to show I can do this, you know. And you could see some, I think it was Iron Man was one of the later ones where it's like, okay, now that I've seen you other guys, you are not able to do it, then I need to show that I can do it. Like the way they used that for character development, I think was really great, actually.
Yeah. I just think
That-
that's
that-
one of the sorry. I just think that's also one of the things that worked well in Avengers. The first one also, the
Yeah.
fact that I think people who have read the comics, they always think about what would happen if Thor he fight Hulk, and what would happen, who could lift the hammer and stuff like that. And I think there was some of those things in this movie that was more in the first one. But I like, you know, when Thor hits Captain America's shield, you know, to see what I mean. There's a lot of that when what
they
would
use
happen.
that as like fight stuff. That was really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's just interesting to see. Yeah,
It's just cool in the fighting scenes where they use each other's abilities to make a more efficient power.
Yeah, it's like they're a team fighting together. They're not just individuals fighting next to each other. They're actually using the team aspect.
Yeah.
Really great. I also really like that they actually went to like other places than the U.S. Like they had stuff in Africa and stuff like that. That was I thought was really great. Like it can be a little bit tiring that like, oh, we're defending the world. Well, that means New York and LA.
Yeah. That's right. But I also think that the scene with the hammer, I think that it was also great that we actually saw the guys behind the heroes. It was sort of like two different people, and also in the end of that scene, it turns out that Ultron is made and they have to fight him. But it was cool that you also saw the persons and who the people actually was behind the heroes, because they didn't wear any cape or their.
You mean the party thing?
Yeah, also that. But they were just like ordinary guys. And they had this one problem: who is the better one to pick up the hammer?
All right. Any more closing thoughts before we go ahead and talk about other stuff? Overall, again, maybe how you feel about it. I still feel like we're pretty negative on it, but I still, even though I have problems, I still really enjoyed the film. I would recommend seeing it. I'm gonna see it again. Partially because I think it was an enjoyment for me to see it, but also because because of the Star Wars trailer and stuff like that. But I definitely would recommend people watch it.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Exactly. It's very fun, and it's a very good action movie. And if you like the Avengers, the first Avengers, there's no reason not to go in and see the second one.
Yeah, I'd say probably if you want to skip some of the Marvel films, I get if people feel like there's too many. Maybe skip the side stuff. I'd go watch the main Avengers films.
Yeah.
All right. Daniel, you said you had watched some other stuff. What else have you watched?
I watched a movie with Daniel Radcliffe today.
Oh,
actually, yeah. I'm not that.
Not Harry Potter, I'm guessing. The way.
No, no. It was called Horns. Or Horn.
Okay.
It came out like 2013. It's about it's a very strange story, but it's adapted from I don't know the author, but I know it's Stephen King's son who wrote the novel, and it's about this guy who's accused of killing his girlfriend, and he's living in this religious city, and then one day he begins getting horns. So. And that's one of the aspects of it that I like, that you actually sometimes you hear about people who get these things growing out of so it has some built-in reality kind of thing, but it was very fantasy-like, because in this, when he begins getting horns, they works as if all the religious people in the city, or all the citizens in the city, they begin speaking their minds about somebody who would start yelling at their son or daughter, and then they actually say to him what they feel about stuff that they sometimes don't say. So, and that was a bit weird, and it was not a perfect movie, but it was very original and has some great things in it. And a performance of Daniel Radcliffe where he plays an American, so he doesn't have his British accent.
So would you recommend it? And what do you think? Does this show that Daniel Radcliffe is not just Harry Potter?
No, I think he was very good, actually, and I would recommend it in the sense that it's weird. It's kind of have an indie feel to it, because it's very strange, but it has some good effects, and it has some actors that is well known. So I would recommend it, but it's
if you're up for something that's not super polished but a little bit different.
Yeah, exactly. It's fun.
Yeah.
All right. Had you seen it as well, Christian?
No, but I read something about it, and I actually saw the trailer, and I was like, why can't you see it? And you couldn't buy it in Denmark, but then I found it on the American Netflix, so I'm definitely gonna watch that.
Okay.
But it's also fun because I've seen The Woman in Black also with Daniel Radcliffe
Ooh,
just a couple of days
Radcliffe.
ago. Yeah, Radcliffe fever. And I've seen this before, so this was the second time, but it's a couple of years ago, so I couldn't remember it proper. But I think that The Woman in Black, the first one, I haven't watched the second one, but the first one is actually pretty good and also pretty original and has a good story, and also some horror effects that is original and isn't just another horror movie. So I like it also because it's a more old movie. It takes place in I think it's the 1800s. So I like that they made this sort of kind of old and universe where people are talking to each other and think that everybody is also kind of the devil. So I really like it, and I really want to see The Woman in Black too.
But that's
Okay,
not with
nice.
Radcliffe, is it? The second
Yeah,
one, that's a new director.
Oh yeah, that's right. I think that's right. In the second movie, it's not Radcliffe.
I've never even
It
heard of
can't
this.
be. I can say that
Oh yeah,
it
it
can't
looks
be
like it's
Radcliffe because I just
I've
remembered
never
the
heard
ending.
Okay. Oh shit! Spoilers.
Okay. No, but I just looked at the first one, the second one, and for me it looked like the second one was like the cheap copy. Not the copy, but the cheap
like
sequel, and not the same director.
direct to TV movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
All right.
Also,
Cool.
like
Anything else?
have you seen?
What?
I've seen Pompeii.
oh,
Actually.
Okay. I heard about that. That looks really interesting.
Yeah, and it's also for the second time. I've watched it for the first time in the cinema, and I've been to Pompeii and Vesuve, so that was kind of the excuse to see the movie because it was kind
But
of
that's
fun
one
that you have been
where
there.
you should see it in the cinema on a big screen, right? I think that was how I heard about it.
Yeah, and it was also in 3D. But it's very original, but it looks in some parts of the movie it's like you can tell that it's maybe a cheap movie. But
Can you
I
explain
think that
what it is? What is it a narrative or is it like a nature film?
Pompeii is it's a movie about the volcano that explodes and turned the whole town to ashes. But you are following a person who from his childhood his parents get killed, and he's like the last one of his people.
So did it
And
take
then you
back
just
place back then and follow one person that experiences the whole
yeah
volcano thing?
exactly exactly. And it's kind of I think that the the director is a big Gladiator fan because it got some Gladiator related stuff to it, and I think that is cool. But and he also takes it to another level. It's just not a boring big area with two guys. It's actually many people who are fighting against each other and stuff like that. But you're just following this person and how his friendships develops with his enemies actually, and then in the end, no spoilers because we know what's gonna happen. But then we see how he's what happens when the volcano explodes. So
was it good?
that's yeah. I think that it's good. But it's sort of like those movies you see a couple of times and says, okay, that's some good action. But some in some cases it's a very cheap movie actually. Because
It's one where I
the
heard
act,
that it was really nice to see in the cinema because it was really interesting 3D and stuff like that.
yeah, it was some of the parts of the volcano actually came right in your head, and I think that 3D nowadays is more like taking it into the depth and and not like going in your head. So that was actually a different kind of 3D. So it's a good movie, but the acting is not that great. But yeah,
so what
I
you're saying
recommend
is the 3D is one where it's more like a window and you go more away from yourself instead of having shit thrown in your face coming out of the screen.
No, it's coming into your face, and I think that 3D movies in the cinema, also with Age of Ultron, is more like in the depth and not in your face all over. But this
there
is
wasn't a lot of
this
that
is kind of
Ultron. I actually took
there
my
was some
glasses
part
off
of
at
it.
one point to be like, okay, how much is actually 3D? Because I didn't feel it that much. I don't know if it added a lot. I'm still considering to go see it in 2D. Like, it was great, but there wasn't. I don't remember any moments where I was like, okay, wow, this is like 3D in my face. It was more like subtle stuff.
Yeah. And Pompeji is a movie where you get spears in your head and you get stuff blown up. Yeah, so and that was kind of cool to see again.
So would you say you need to see it in 3D, or?
I think that you have to see it in 3D the first time to be a fan and to buy the movie. So I was like, it was actually only 50 kroners, and I was like, maybe I could buy it, but then my girlfriend bought it, and I think I don't need to buy it.
The Blu-ray or? The
Blu-ray, yeah. So that's actually pretty cheap, but I don't think that you can see it in 3D as a Blu-ray. Not here in Denmark, actually. You can buy it as a 3D.
Okay. Daniel, what were you saying?
I started in my head to compare Pompeji to Titanic because I like Titanic, and I was just wondering in Pompeji if I remember when I watched Titanic that when they finally begin to sink, you have kind of forgot that it was the story about Titanic because you are caught up in this story about this guy and this girl and all that. Was it the kind of the same thing in Pompeji where there was a main story and then suddenly out of the blue or something?
Let me just ask something. Is it the Jon Snow guy from Game of Thrones who's in it? Or is it a different film?
Yeah, I haven't watched Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay. All right, whatever. Sorry to interrupt. Go back to Daniel.
But it's yeah, I guess you can say that it's very much like Titanic, but and then again not, because you're actually going back and see the volcano, and one person actually missing in the first 20 minutes. I think that you can see that the ground is actually exploding under him. So you get parts of the volcano. So it's not like all of a sudden the volcano is exploding, but it is in the movie as I wouldn't have thought it was being in this part of the film. So it comes as a shock. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
All right. Any more films you wanna? I don't think I've seen any films this week other than Avengers. So, any more films you wanna recommend or say people should avoid?
No, no, really.
All right. And then one thing I have seen, which I'm pretty sure Christian. So you're not watching Game of Thrones. Are you watching that, Daniel?
No.
Okay, so I won't talk to you. I saw the second episode. I don't think there's a lot to say actually without spoiling, because it's good. It's not great yet. I feel like they're still building it up, and I'm thinking maybe it's because, as far as I understand, the 5th book is the only one that's out. Like, the last one is out, and it's the 5th season. So maybe they're trying to like spread it out because it's going to be a couple of years before the next book is there. Maybe they're just making sure that they can earn money on TV seasons far in the future without just doing it that way. So it feels like they're spreading it out a little bit, building it slowly. But I am assuming if you watch Game of Thrones, you're watching it, whatever. It's cool. That's it. Not much to say. Let's get into video games. Daniel, you said you're not the biggest video games guy.
No, not really. No, I sometimes I am. But I think the last game I played, I think a couple of weeks ago I started on The Last of Us. I haven't played that before.
Oh, good man. Have you played? So you played the beginning of that?
I played until the credits. What you say? Like there's a
like the first half hour or something. Yeah. I was actually thinking.
Yeah.
So more than that.
No, less. I think it's less than half now. Like until they jump to.
Yeah. I thought that was okay. Yeah. So like 15, 20. Okay. I was actually maybe then you can't do that. I was gonna get maybe you. I wanted to get like 5 or 6 people who don't play a lot of video games to play that like play the beginning of that, play the beginning of Outlast, play the beginning of Bloodborne, play the beginning like a couple of
Okay.
games and then see your reactions. But so without spoiling for people who haven't played Last of Us, how? Because I was gonna see what people react to that. How do you feel about that? That is the like prologue story of Joel and his kid.
Yeah. I think it worked very well. I don't think it felt that much as it was more like a movie in the sense that it was very dramatic and very well acted, or what you say. And I was grabbed. It worked for me, but I don't think the gameplay. I don't think it worked that well when.
No, but it'll change a lot after that. That is very much the setup. It's still very cinematic, but after that, you definitely get to do more. It is less game in that part than the rest of the game is.
Yeah. But I think I'm more to hack and slash and Arkham Asylum and all those kind of games.
Okay. But you'll get a little bit of that. There is some hand-to-hand combat and a little bit of shooting towards zombies later. Yeah. So you'll get a lot of that.
Cool.
I actually recently
that's cool to hear.
Nice. And it's on the hardest level, and it takes like forever to complete the game.
You get fucking wrecked when you play on that. I did that as well, actually. And you already have you don't have. I mean, if you play it on normal and you play it smart, you will eventually, a little bit into the game, start having enough of everything. Yeah. But if you play on the harder stuff, you have nothing. You're gonna run out of everything. You're gonna have no bullets. You're gonna have no med kits. You're gonna have no nothing, and then then you're gonna have to fight the zombies with a piece of wood, and then that breaks, and you don't have a piece of wood anymore. That is the real shit.
It's crazy because you have to look all over where materials are, and
then you get into those situations where you're like, okay, I know these guys have something I need, so I could try to kill them. But if I try to kill them, I'm probably gonna have to use a med kit and use some bullets. So is it worth it? Because if I use 2 med kits and then they only have 1, then I just wasted then it's not worth fighting them. And it's can I sneak around them? But then if it's just bad.
And also you can't see through walls as you can in normal mode. There is some things you can't see how low on health you are.
That's actually very Arkham Asylum mode where you can listen through walls sort of thing.
Yeah.
All right. I'm really happy to hear that. Did you play it on PS3 or PS4, Daniel?
PS3. Yeah.
Okay. Would you see yourself playing more, or was that enough?
No, I think I'll play again. I've just been busy with other stuff, but I will definitely just see what happens next. But yeah, I mean, I also played a lot of Dead Space and Max Payne 3 and stuff where it's more it moves a bit faster, I think.
Yeah, but you'll move fast. I would be really interested to hear what you think about it, because it is very cinematic, but it does give more gamey later. But you'll have moments throughout the game where there are where it slows down a little bit. There's a little bit more of a cutscene, a little bit more of a story moment, and then you go into areas where there's more fighting. So I guess it's not too far away from Batman game, for instance.
Nice. I look forward to it.
Cool. Christian, what have you been playing?
I've actually only been playing Destiny. So that's new. But
well, not that old game, I guess. It's just for people like us that if it's 6 months old, it's an old game.
Yeah.
But so you got back into Destiny. I kind of dragged you a little bit, but you were playing on your own now, trying to level up and everything. Yeah.
I'm playing on my own. I'm actually in the end of level 29.
29. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm getting somewhere. And I'm just
you're at a point now where you can play all content. You don't have the DLC, right?
No.
So the max level, you can be high level, but the max level content you can play is level 30, and even if you get the DLC before the next one comes out soon, that is level 32 on hard, and you can play that as level 29. So and it's doable. It's very hard, but with the team it's doable. So you're definitely end game stuff now.
Yeah. So I'm farming strange coins, and I'm thinking, why didn't I get just one more so I can buy something at Sir?
This is the thing where if you had played consistently, even played on lower level, you would have gotten a couple of those every week, and then you would have been swimming in it, like me.
So I'm there when I'm playing the weekly, I'm playing the daily, just to get the strange coins and to buy loot. and to get the exotic. I just got one exotic bounty, and then I completed it. I think that I had to kill 500 people on the moon, and then after that I got I can't remember what it called, but it was something like people are laughing behind your back, and I got a new ship for that, and I was like, what is this about? And then I went in and looked at the bounty again, and then I should do something else to get
the exotic
weapon.
bounties are
So
5
it tricked
steps.
me.
Yeah, the exotic
Okay,
bounties are
yeah.
5 steps. You did the first one. The ships is just you get this. One is called laughing behind your back. You just turn that into the ship master, and then you get a different ship that you can, which doesn't do anything but looks different. But how? So for you played Destiny a little bit in the beginning, then you took a break. Now you're coming back. How do you feel about it? You sound like you're getting into it. Are you considering buying the DLC? Are you going to play a lot more? How do you feel about all that?
I'm definitely considering to buy the DLC, depending on how much money it is. But I'm definitely considering it because I'm playing it a lot right now. And actually, yesterday I was playing like from 11 o'clock, and then I say, okay, I'm gonna play 1 hour, and then all of a sudden it was 4 o'clock, and I was just playing all day. So, and it's just to get those strange coins and to get better loot. But I think that I might have been caught into the all MMO thing. But So it also, as we spoke about, Destiny is actually tricking you to like MMO.
It is like I've never played an MMO, but it has some of those things where you talk about. When I talk to people who played MMOs, where it has weeklies and dailies and the way it drags you in, and where you're like, I think one of the good things about it is as well, like when I played a lot of Call of Duty, I like playing against other people. You shoot people. It has that, but it also has story missions. And if you just want to listen to some music or a podcast and grind a little bit, then you can go find some materials or shoot some easy enemies, and that's worth doing. Like that'll help you in the long run. So there's like very, very different like kinds of content and very different like level of intensity content that you can play, which is really nice. And it's all like all the investment you make is worth it. There's content with you'll play alone. There's content you play with 5 people, with 6 people, or with 3 people, or whatever. And that I think is really cool. And going off that, let's hear it.
It's a game that you can play like for some occasions, and you can play it for like if you want to be alone, just playing by yourself, farming something, or you can play it like hardcore. You can raid, and there's just many opportunities in this game.
Yeah, and yeah, for me, it's probably the game I've played the most in many, many, many years. I have hit around 1,000 hours now in like 8 months, which is insane to say. And the big thing I had sort of had a break for like a little bit where I didn't play as much. I played like an hour a week or something maybe, and I was missing. I didn't play as much basically. And I got back into it. They just released a patch recently, and now this Wednesday they had the big live stream where they showed off the first part of what's going to be in the DLC that's coming in the middle of May. And I think I made another video about that is on the YouTube page, where I think that sounds super awesome. They're pretty much, from what they're saying, listening to what people want while still keeping their vision. It sounds like they're fixing all the things people have been asking them to fix. The problem with the last DLC was that the second raid that they released made the first raid not really worth playing. A lot of content was not worth doing. Some materials that you can use when you're beginning the game that I have 300 of some shards, and I can't use them for anything now because now I need some other shards. And the way they're doing it with the DLC now, instead of doing that again, where now there's going to be some new levels, and then you need to play those, but not the old ones, they're making it in a way where everything is worth playing. All materials that you had, also saved up, whatever, is worth using. You can convert them, you can do different stuff with it. And I think that is super awesome. It sounds like they're going to do new kinds of missions, new kinds of gear, new kinds of everything, while still making everything in the past worth playing. So I'm super excited for that, and has made me interested in playing a lot more. And playing it with you, Christian, and playing it with Kevin, who hasn't been playing a lot, and like helping you level up, help you like experience it differently. Playing a little bit alone, playing raids with people, especially people who haven't experienced it before. The raids in Destiny is different from everything else I've played, like in games and especially shooters, where it's such a different kind of experience, and that is super awesome. And I think the multiplayer stuff, PvP, is really cool. There's so much cool stuff, and it's really nice to be dragged back into the game and be really excited for it. So that has been a big part of my week as well, and in the future. Now it's really about preparing for the DLC that's coming out, and I can't wait. Every Wednesday they're going to have another stream where they explain more about it, and I can't wait for that. Yeah, that was a long ramble. Yeah. I guess I'll then shortly say the other thing that I played. I played a little bit of Shovel Knight last night, which is old school 8-bit platformer, very like Castlevania, a little bit of Mario maybe in there, like platformer. Knight with a shovel going through castles and stuff, and that's super awesome. I was positive. Yeah, I thought it was going to be that's going to be cool. I want to see what it is, and I was really positively surprised. I think it's a super awesome game. So if you're into like old school platforming, Castlevania, Metroid, Mario, those kind of games. More the other ones than Mario, but that kind of game it's really cool. And then what else? I've also played a bit of Bloodborne, gotten into that last couple of days. Really enjoyed that. Had an epic moment Friday night before I went to the party at the film school. Had been like fighting this boss, and now I'm looking through all content. I've probably fought this boss for like 5-6 hours in total. And then finally I take him out at like 1% health, 0 health potions left. It was like I thought it was over, and then I managed to kill him. There's a cool thing now with the PS4 where it automatically takes a photo every time you get a trophy, so that's usually whenever something big happens. So it took a photo of me, I had my arms up in the air, and I tweeted that out, and the official Bloodborne game Twitter tweeted it out, and I've gotten like a lot of comments from random strangers because they posted it as well, and like people saying, "Oh, good job," and like favoriting and liking it and all that. And that's been super cool. And just getting that fight and I killed 2 more bosses today on like second and third try. So I'm really getting back into that game, which is a different kind of game than I've played. That I haven't really played games like that before, where it's super hard but super rewarding when you do stuff, and that has been really cool. I'm really enjoying that game, and I think if you're afraid of trying hard games, I really recommend you give it a try, and especially if you have some friends or someone who can help you a little bit and give you some tips. Otherwise, Reddit and some other forums are really good for like giving you some tips. But I recommend not knowing too much, because I think part of the experience is going in, exploring the world, learning the systems without knowing it. It's really fun going into a boss battle not knowing how to beat him, and then you figure out sort of the trick, and then it changed a lot. One boss I fought today, the last one, get into a new area, and in this area there started being monsters where there were like there was these women with bells that could rest some of the enemies. So you needed to kill the bell ladies before you kill the monsters, or like you kill the monsters, rush the bell ladies so she couldn't rest enemies. The way this game works, that made me think, okay, they're going to be something like that with the boss fight. So there's going to be some resting or something, and of course then you try to prepare yourself for that. In another area, there would be like poison enemies, and then a boss fight would be poison. So then you're like, okay, I need something. I need my armor and my sword or something, maybe to be good against poison. So run into this, and I managed to figure out like pretty much how the boss fight was going to be. So I beat him really quick, which was awesome. That like me being smart about it and thinking about strategy before made it work for me, and that way that it like rewards you for being smart and thinking, and then also sort of executing on you need to be good on the sticks, good with the controller, and that's super rewarding when you get it. So yeah, I think that's my game ramble. Any thoughts?
Yeah. I just think that Bloodborne is still a very good game. I actually taking a long break now, but I'm considering going back. But it is like I actually took a break because I was fighting a boss, and I've fighting him for a long time, and then when I finally beat him, I couldn't figure out what to do afterwards. Yeah. And I was like so frustrated, so I'm going to turn off the game, and I just haven't turned it on.
I had almost a week and a half break, and I think that's the right thing to do sometimes. It's a little bit different when you stream it as well, but taking breaks from games, and I don't know if it's the same with like films or other mediums, but especially with games, and especially if it's hard, take a break from it, come back, and then you will enjoy it a lot more. Don't force yourself. I guess it's like someone saying to you, "Oh, this film is really good. You should watch whatever old black and white film." And if you force yourself to it, you're not going to enjoy it as much. Like take breaks from it, watch it when you like feel like it, and up for a challenge.
Yeah, definitely.
Has any of you played the game? I can't remember the name of it, but it's a new Lord of the Rings, Mordor something.
Shadow of Mordor.
Shadow of Mordor. Yeah.
Is that good?
That's
I heard
good.
it should be good.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
never
but
got
like-
super into it, but it's like they made one system in it which is amazing that I think most people hope they're going to copy into a lot of games, which is called the Nemesis system, where whenever you kill someone of the bosses, like you'll get like a story with them. If they kill you, they will rank up. Like, so if like just a minion will kill you, then he might become captain, and you will have these stories with these bosses. And there's this whole hierarchy where you're fighting. You know, you need to kill like a minion and then a captain, and then when you can like interrogate the captain and figure out the weakness of his boss, and then like his whole system of that. That's really cool. I think I sort of want to get back into it and play a little bit more. But I was in the beginning. It's very cool for Lord of the Rings people. I think the intro of it, the whole setup is cool. But after that, there's like not a lot of that. So I don't think it should matter whether you're into Lord of the Rings. And if you are a fan, you should be prepared that you might be disappointed in that direction.
Yeah.
And then I think you should also be ready that it is very much a Assassin's Creed meets Batman set.
Yeah.
But that sounds good.
Exactly.
It is good, but it's like I guess it has the Nemesis system, but for me, it's just it didn't go much further. And I think some of the things that Batman and Assassin's Creed does, maybe more Batman, it doesn't do it as well as Batman. Like I didn't feel like the controls were just as tight, and there's some things that's not really perfect. So it's still good. I think it's something with expectations. If you're in the industry, it had a lot of praise, and I think that people talking about it as like a game of the year and stuff made me have higher expectations the more I played, and that I got a little bit disappointed after that. So it just expect I'd say a good game, but not like the best game ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think, Chris?
What?
Well, what do you think? Now I rambled about it.
I think that it's a great game. I don't think you can say that it has nothing. I think it's like a game, but it has nothing to do with the original Lord of the Rings or the Hobbit.
I think the setup though, the setup that starts it is amazing, and it sets it up.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
But then after that, it doesn't. It has Gollum in it, where then it's like, okay, that mission doesn't make like it just doesn't add anything, and it feels like they're just like, oh, let's put Gollum in there because then people who have seen Lord of the Rings in the cinema will recognize him. It feels like a cop out sort of add-on thing.
Yeah,
and that disappointed me that we had those moments.
This could just be like an original, also old game or a fighting game with swords.
As far as I understand, it was actually originally a Batman game that they changed halfway through development. So that's why some of that.
So it's like I like the game, and also because of the Nemesis system that you can also, besides completing stories, you can also if you die to a captain or stuff like that, and you see his powers growing, you're like, he's gonna die right now, and then because of that, it has very many more hours into it, because it's not just the story. You also want to complete the smaller things in the game, and also because it's a very beautiful game actually, and the graphic is pretty good, I think, and when you run, it's like, that is the original Lord of the Rings feeling with the cape floating behind you.
Yeah. It is very much an Aragorn kind of guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, I think that's it. Unless you have anything to add, then I just hear what are you looking forward to? Do you have plans to see any films or play any games or any news you're looking forward to in the coming week or two?
Oh, I don't know if it comes in the coming week, but Jurassic World, I'm looking very much forward to that. But I can't remember when it's coming out.
I think it's later in the summer, but I think that's going to be a great like watch in the cinema. I don't think it's going to be a good film, but I think it's going to be entertaining to watch it in the
No.
cinema.
Yeah, exactly.
What about you, Dan?
Yeah, I don't really have anything right now. I look forward to, even though it
But
sounds a
you're
bit sad.
also busy with school stuff, right?
Yeah, there's a lot, and I watch a lot of movies, but I can't remember if there is anything right now. What comes in the cinema? I think there's Ant-Man, like in the last of June, but that's July.
Yeah, for me, there's not something in like the next couple of weeks, like movie-wise. I'm gonna watch Game of Thrones, enjoying that, watching that every Monday. It comes out in the middle of the night, like 3 or 4 a.m. So I will usually watch in the Monday. Then for me, right now, it's about the games that are coming out shortly. Like I'm really excited for Destiny, the DLC. Looking forward to seeing more details on that and preparing, playing that. And then what we talked about, playing more Bloodborne, it's super awesome, and I really enjoy streaming it right now and having people watch it and tell me when I suck and tell me when I do great, and feel really awesome when you take out a guy. And I got a cool sword. I got a samurai sword, but it's crazy because you can, like, when you put it in like the good mode, then you drain health all the time. You just lose like life when you use it. It's like crazy shit. So I really enjoy delving more into that. Actually, I promised some of the people that watch my live stream to bring this up in the stream. So, Christian, you've played Bloodborne, so you're probably going to understand this a little bit more than Daniel. But I read an article, which I'm going to try to put in the comments or in the description. I'm going to try to get that all the stuff we talk about, we're going to link to the films and the games and stuff, so people can find what we're talking about in the description. So I'll try to find this as well. But I read a post, I think it was on Reddit, where someone had like analyzed Bloodborne, and that it's called Bloodborne. It's about blood. You pick up blood and use that to level up. You use blood to buy items. You use blood vials as your health potion. Everything is blood. But that it's basically period blood. Like, it's like, the female, I don't know if I'm saying correctly in English. It is a woman on her period. Blood.
Oh.
That's what it's about.
Okay.
And the way he described, first he was like, yeah, I know you're going to hate and downvote me and it's shit, but it's like, listen here. And then he listed all this stuff, and I was like, holy shit, that's true. There's all this stuff with the moon, with the like cycle of females, and there's all this stuff, and it's super interesting, and it's very disgusting. The game is disgusting as it is, but like adding that stuff that you're like drinking blood potions, and it's like, and the way like you come to this part where there's a healing church, you only collect. You help women get in there and save them, and some of them give you their blood, but then one of them looks like she's actually getting pregnant, and that's why there's a point where then she can't give you more blood, and that makes sense because she's doesn't have a period because she is pregnant, and all this stuff where I'm like, holy shit, that is crazy if that's what it's about, and it's super interesting, and yeah.
I don't think I can complete the game now with that in mind.
Yeah, I don't know, but there's already so many disgusting things. Did you ever get to the Blood-Starved Beast, the third boss?
Yeah.
Or fourth?
Yeah.
Did she like? Have you? Yeah. I didn't notice it when I played it, but I like saw some of the footage again, and I could pause it. Have you seen what like his face is like split open, and then his like skin and brain is just like all. This game is fucking disgusting.
Yeah. It is.
See, just look at Daniel's face right now. That is exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't you feel like playing it now?
It's a good game.
I would recommend. Sorry, what?
Yeah, no, I just want to hear. What do you think of all this you're hearing now?
I think it's. I thought the theory was good. I'm not that much into the game, that game. I don't know that much. But I like the theories about like when there is games and movies for that matter. That you know when fans they create these big ideas about stuff. I think it's pretty entertaining.
But also the thing with these games and the game From Software made before is they don't really tell the story. They just have lore there, and then it's up to the. And that's why I've really been looking forward to playing this when it came out, because I couldn't do that with the last Souls games they made. Because after a few months, then people have figured out what it's about, and being part of that process of playing and reading stuff in the game, picking up objects, reading them, going on Reddit, and everyone like writes like what they have, found of information, and together, like, people collectively figure out what the game is about. That experience is super awesome. And yeah, so I mean, this might not be true, but it makes a lot of sense. And yeah, it makes sense in the way as well that you don't really get to tell the story. You're just this guy who have weapons and you kill people, and you don't really understand why, other than they try to kill you too. So yeah.
Maybe it was supposed to be analyzed by this guy.
I don't know.
But it's
I'll
very
try to find
interesting.
it. Put it in the comments, and then I'd like to hear what people think, because I don't know what to think about that, because that was like, what is going on? What game am I playing? It's disturbing enough as it is. But yeah. So yeah, yeah. Let me hear it.
I'll just say one movie I look forward to. I just came thinking of it. I don't know. Have you seen the trailer for the movie Pixels? I think it's called.
No, I haven't. Someone brought it. I think.
Do you know what it's about?
No, I saw the poster, and now I'm confused.
Okay, because it's a pretty interesting. It's a comedy, right? It's about this alien invasion, where the aliens. I don't know how they find out, but they know all our mythologies about games and Pac-Man and stuff like that. So they create these. I don't know if it's robots or if it is aliens, but they take the form and the shape of the characters from video games. So these, so there's these Adam Sandler and a lot of other guys. They have to fight these aliens, which basically is old video games from the 80s and 90s. And I thought that was a pretty funny premise.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
actually seen the trailer, but
okay.
I think that you might not should. If you can avoid the trailer, you should, because it's like when we also talked about in comedies, they reveal the biggest jokes and stuff like that, and they actually do this. And I think that you can tell it's some part in the end of the movie. It's actually a big joke, and they reveal a big thing. So I think, avoid the trailer as much as you can.
Another trailer to avoid, the new Terminator Genesis. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, I've avoided that as well. But I was just also assuming that's going to be a shitty film, and I'm going to go watch it. But I'm just assuming it's going to be shit, and then if it's not, I'm going to be positively surprised.
Cool. Just because there is some, I think it's big spoilers in the newest.
I heard some people talk about it that, like, have you seen that? That's crazy. And I was like, yeah, I probably shouldn't see that. It's going to be way more fun to see. That actually, I want to end on something from Avengers that we also talked about shortly when we left the cinema. That is weird. That so if you haven't watched Avengers, just stop now. But the whole thing with the kid and the phone and like, oh, she's fat. What was that?
I don't know.
The jokes and that one wasn't in the trailer, but that was just like, what? What?
Yeah, that's right.
I think it was a joke. I know it was a joke, but I don't understand why. What was about really?
It was because it was Scarlett Johansson saying it, and she's really nice, and all the other guys are like douches once in a while, and they were like, oh, she also needs to be a little bit of a douche, so it like levels it out. That was the reason. I think.
Yeah, but they already established that Black Widow has this relationship to this baby or this family, so there was something to it, but I think it's I don't know what it was actually. It was kind of.
It's one of those things where sometimes jokes work well on paper, and then when you say it in the film, it's not funny at all.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. It was maybe just a spoof.
Yeah. Thanks for joining, guys, and thank you to the people watching. I'll try to collect all the links for all the films and all the stuff. So if you want to clear out like things about it and figure out exactly what Horn's film it is and all that stuff, then you can read more about it. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.